Bonsoir tous, bienvenue sur le plateau Équinoxe Soir, votre décryptage quotidien de l'actualité de lundi à vendredi, 19h, 21h, 18h, 20h, en temps universel. 6 ans déjà que la célébration de l'unité nationale a une saveur particulière dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest. Depuis 6 ans, les deux régions anglophones du pays sont plongées dans une crise. Les revendications corporatistes du départ ont très vite tourné en faveur des revendications politiques, voire sécessionnistes. Les forces de défense et de sécurité font face sur le terrain à des bandes armées. Le bilan humain reste à date très lourd. Forces de défense et de sécurité, bandes armées séparatistes et civiles ont jusqu'ici payé le lourd tribut de cette sale guerre. Le règne de la terreur, entretenu par les bandes armées, a contribué à imposer la journée du lundi dans les 13 départements des régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest comme une journée ville morte, ghost town, selon l'expression consacrée. À côté des fêtes nationales, sont très souvent précédées d'une longue période de cessation totale d'activité appelée lockdown. Une manière de démontrer la rupture d'avec le pouvoir central de Yaoundé, communément appelé la République. Alors que le Cameroun s'apprête à célébrer avec faste, après 3 années d'hibernation, la 51e édition de l'avènement de l'État unitaire, les Camerounais continuent de s'interroger sur la connotation que revêtra la fête nationale de l'unité dans cette partie du pays en proie du fait de la crise à des assassinats, des décapitations, explosions d'engins artisanaux. 20 mai 2023, l'unité nationale dans la paix, c'est une interrogation, madame, monsieur, et c'est le fait du jour. Nationale sans la paix. Pour en parler, nous sommes en plateau ce soir avec Robert KEDIA. Bonsoir, bienvenue. Good evening, welcome.
Good evening to you. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to the entire Equinoxe institution for giving us this opportunity to come here and express our view with regards on issues happening in our country in related to the unity of our country. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. MUKAGE, good evening.
Good evening to you, Sesh. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to the million telespectators who are watching Equinoxe Soir this evening and those who take time to watch different programs on Equinoxe. It's true the topic you have today is one that has got a lot of impact on the socio-political livelihood of those who are living in the northwest and the southwest, to whom I'm sending a special good evening. And it's a difficult one for the media and journalists because we recently lost a colleague in the crisis that is ongoing. That is NOSO, who was in the northwest region of the country. From what we got, they said it was a stray bullet that killed him. But how many of those persons who keep losing their lives every day when the solution is there? It's a privilege being on board today's session. I want to say a special good evening to those who are watching in MUKAGE subdivision, the land of milk and honey.
Voilà. Dr. Mac Anthony AKUHMBOM, welcome. Good evening.
Good evening, Serge. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to Cameroonians and to all Africans watching us at this hour, and particularly to those from the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. I want to believe that the topic of discussion today is so important in relation to the fact that we are talking about the crisis in the northwest and southwest, and we are talking about the celebration of the so-called 20th of May, which is supposed to be a day that we celebrate unity of the nation. So that is going to be a total, in fact, we are going to be discussing on that, and I'm sure our opinions are going to mean a lot or count a lot in educating our people on how to overcome the challenges in which we are facing right now.
Robert KEDIA, j'ai envie de vous poser cette question. La paix, c'est un vain mot. La paix précaire, selon certaines personnes, dans ces deux régions, alors qu'on s'apprête à célébrer le 51e anniversaire de l'État unitaire. Jusque-là, on a eu droit à une célébration à 2 vitesses parce que ces 2 régions sont en crise depuis 2016. Est-ce que 2023 va déroger à la règle?
We all know that the crisis have been there, getting to 6 years, but the intensity of the crisis when it was 2017, 18, 19 have definitely died off. All the 13 divisions that are found in the Northwest and Southwest, schools of course are going on there, especially even in the subdivision, schools are going on there, and activities of course are getting to normalcy. But I won't debunk the fact that there are still some minority of our brothers, of course, that have picked up arms. But what I want to say and I wish that it should be very, very clear and understood by everybody. We'll be celebrating the National Day of the Republic of Cameroon, and we should all know that the land, the territorial integrity of the Republic is still there. The airspace, the land space, no territory of the country has been touched, be it in the Northwest and Southwest by separatists, be it in the extreme north by the Boko Haram or the anti-Balaka forces in the East region. The state is there. It has not been touched, and of course it becomes now an opportunity for us to celebrate National Unity Day. Of course, some people will criticize that we still have problems in the Northwest, they are still shooting on people, but what I will say is that if there is any man that does not have a marital problem or a domestic problem in his house, then he should tell us that we should not also celebrate our National Day despite the presence of these problems we are finding or having with men that have picked up arms. I also want to comment on what my co-panelists talked about, the journalists which we lost, which we all cried. But I still have to tell media men, especially those in the Northwest and Southwest, they should be able to report things without fear of the reaction with those that have picked up arms. Because there's this sugarcoating. A journalist was killed. Capo Daniel in the diaspora came out and declared that they are responsible and they took responsibility for the assassination of the journalist. I was waiting to look at the report of newspapers related to the Northwest and Southwest region. I was waiting to look at the report of TV stations of the Northwest and Southwest region for them to come out plain to say their journalist was brutally assassinated by separatists. But all I got is the journalist was killed by unknown armed men. They say none of them came out to be plain, and I wish that they should always come out and be plain to condemn what they have to condemn. Even though many people will tell us that no, we can condemn the state military because they are legitimate, they have been trained, and those boys are they are not state armed groups, and so we don't have the legitimacy to condemn them. No, we should call a spade so that we ensure that we solve our problem in its diversity and preserve the union of the Republic to move ahead.
Voilà. On accueille sur ce plateau Maître Paul PAYERE. Bonsoir Maître, bienvenue.
Ouais, bien. Bonsoir aux co-panélistes, bonsoir mon cher grand journaliste.
Voilà.
Je m'excuse.
Voilà, oui.
Les embouteillages.
C'est la semaine.
Mais j'ai tout fait pour être là.
L'unité nationale.
L'unité nationale.
Voilà,
c'est ça.
Prince Joël MUKAGE, toujours cette image, la partie francophone et la partie anglophone. On célèbre l'unité. On n'a pas l'impression que le 20 mai, le 11 février, c'est véritablement un moment de communion entre ces deux parties du Cameroun.
We should be able to say, Serge, that the 20th of May that we celebrate every day dates as far back as 1972. It's a day that the President of the Republic, by then Alhaji Babatoro Amadou Ahijo, changed the Federal Republic of a country that had no problems. If at all the country had problems, he should have told Cameroonians where the problems were. From 1961 to 1972, we've been celebrating, call it national unity, but how united are the people? How united are Cameroonians when once you speak English, like Prince is doing, like KEDIA is doing, like Prof. Mark is doing, the name you're labeled is regarding Bamenda Komsa. There is a problem somewhere. how united is Cameroonians when a group of persons decide to support a political party, they are treated as Talibans. There is a problem somewhere. How united is Cameroonians when Cameroonians think that they should support somebody, not because a person is competent, not because a person has something to show for, but because a person comes from a particular tribe, but because the person comes from a particular village. I think that our national unity has proven, and it's glaring, Serge, that there is a problem with our national unity. Of course, we want to remember that several events that have brought Cameroonians together, we've seen how the unity has been put to question. Recently, Cameroonians celebrated, they were in Boya as one man. That was during the mountain race. We saw the event that occurred. It tells you that something somewhere is wrong. KEDIA, my brother, made mention of the fact that he has not seen journalists come out to condemn. I will maybe say that you did not read well the papers. The Voice newspaper that I represent in the littoral region did best, and in its lead story, it was categorical that separatists have confirmed that he killed the journalist. Journalists, he's not the first. We know of cases of...
Parce qu'on a eu une version officielle au début, une version qui disait que là on ne savait pas qui avait fait ça.
No, the issue here is, as you know, that when an event occurs, you want to investigate. But now, with what is going on in the Northwest and the Southwest, I've always told people, at times you want to be very careful with what, before you make conclusions. You know, people today, when this crisis started in 2016, Serge, and when some of us were on this same platform...
Selon ce qu'a dit KEDIA, quand il s'agit, on fait souvent très vite de conclusions, on dit que c'est l'armée.
No,
et quand de l'autre côté, on est un peu plus prudent. C'est ce qu'il dit.
The problem
on accuse très souvent l'armée.
No,
là, on ne met pas les gants pour dire que c'est l'armée.
The issue here is, Serge, the military is trained. On the other hand, the few guys who have taken up arms in the Northwest and the Southwest region are not trained. And many a time when they take an action, even within the separatists, they have a lot of factions. Another faction may take responsibility of a crime because they want to stain another faction. And another faction may want to take responsibility because they want to take honor. And that is why progressively, Serge, if you go to the Northwest and the Southwest region today, the people are beginning to live their lives without believing what who says. Let me tell you today that those who are living in the Northwest and the Southwest region today, if you go and tell them even what we are discussing today about national unity, it's a sing-song to them. It doesn't exist to them. Why? Because they don't even think that on the 20th of May they are going to march. March where? In areas where people are bundled in a whole subdivision and taken to one chief area? No. In Douala, where we are, of course, in Bonaberi, people are going to march in Bonasaba. People are going to march in the different areas. But the reverse is true in other areas. Why? Because people are bundled.
No march in Bonasaba. Tout le monde la vallée de la Bessic.
Yeah. But what I'm saying here, Serge, is if you go to the north, wait, of course there will be. But when you go to other areas, it's difficult to actually. Persons are even scared to come out and march.
Voilà.
Of course. What are they march? No, lots of things are not going on well in the Northwest and the South. Lots of things. Some of us go to that area. Lots of things are not going on well.
Le discours du gouvernement, c'est que les choses sont en train de se mettre en place.
It's politics. You don't expect a government that
la vie est en train de reprendre.
No, we don't expect such that you should be able to say that life is taking its normal turn when in the Northwest region.
C'est le discours du gouvernement.
Of course, I'm saying that before 2016, I paid 3,500 francs to go to Misaje. But now the price is 22,500 francs. Anybody who thinks I'm lying, let the person go and come back and challenge me. Let the person even go in tomorrow. That before the crisis, a bottle of drink there was sold at the normal price. But today, a bottle of drink, irrespective of it, even if it's a top, is 1,000 francs. Those are the realities. It tells you that something is wrong somewhere. And we are just coming back from our brothers of the Southwest region who held something they brought together to discuss that there is peace. But we still feel, Serge, that there are a lot of things that are not going on well in the Northwest. There are a lot of things that need to be put in place. When I look at the way these two regions are going on, one thing I fear is not for me. It's because, Serge, I've tried. I'm getting too old. I'm no longer a child. I fear for the younger generation. When you have children who are still in class 4, class 5, class 2, who know about a ghost town, who have gotten used to the gunshot. When we were growing up, we only had gunshots when we went boom. We knew a hunter had killed an animal. That's what we knew. Gunshots were only used to when there were ceremonial events like the coronation of a chief. But today gunshots are used to, those children are used to it. And when you have a child who is growing up in an environment where gunshot is used to the child, when the child is used to such that life is difficult, I'm not afraid of today. I'm afraid of the future, because the future in this country is very pregnant. And no one can say for sure. A young guy whom we just talked about, the journalist, this is a young guy who just stepped out from an event and went to get batteries to come animate as usual. And a bullet beat him, that's all. And as we talk to this, we don't know who are going to mourn tomorrow. And it keeps coming up every day. And what do we get? La paix revient petit à petit dans le nord.
Oui, et d'abord, Maître PAYERE, cette situation, nous sommes en pleine semaine. On va célébrer le 51e anniversaire de l'avènement de l'État unitaire. C'est samedi prochain, mais dans deux des 10 régions du pays sont en crise depuis 2016. Voilà, on parle d'unité nationale et qu'on peut parler véritablement d'unité nationale sans la paix.
Oui. C'est Joël autour. Il y a un morceau que j'ai suivi quand j'étais encore à l'école primaire en 72. Unité nationale, oye. Unité nationale. Unité nationale, oye. Bravo, Aïjo. Je me pose la question si ce morceau peut encore être chanté dans ce pays en 2023, ou précisément à partir de 1982. Parce que quand sous Aïjo, en ce moment, ce n'était pas les appareils que nous avons aujourd'hui, c'était les tourne-disques, comme on disait, parce qu'après le phonographe, c'était ça. Presque quand on allait en vacances, c'est ça qui animait. L'unité nationale. La nation et l'unité. Quand c'est que nous vivons aujourd'hui, nous voyons ce qui se passe. Le NOSO, c'est vraiment une préoccupation. Mais en dehors du NOSO, je vais revenir au NOSO. Je vais voir aujourd'hui le débat qui se passe, le tribalisme. Est-ce que le tribalisme peut nous amener, le discours haineux, ça peut nous amener à avoir une nation comme au temps de Aïjo? C'est autant de choses. Parce qu'en dehors du NOSO, qui est un problème sérieux, parce que c'est Joël autour, quand vous m'invitez sur le plateau, vous savez que je suis SDF frondiste. SDF frondiste, certains sont en train de dire de temps en temps, on a eu un 3% quelque part. Est-ce que le NOSO, le Nord-Ouest, Sud-Ouest avait voté? Parce que ce que nous devons savoir, le SDF, c'est un parti national. Mais chaque parti a aussi un bastion quelque part. Le bastion étant coupé, je regrette tellement par rapport à la guerre du NOSO qui dure et perdure. C'est une guerre où j'interpelle toujours le gouvernement, parce que KEDIA est là, qu'ils disent à ses patrons, ils ont les solutions, qu'on essaie de mettre un terme à cette guerre. Donc l'unité nationale ne peut pas fonctionner. Aujourd'hui, très bien, à 100%, quand on est bipolarisé, ou même pas bipolarisé, ça peut aller jusqu'à 4, on se divise. Parce que pendant qu'on parle de la guerre NOSO aujourd'hui, qui est une actualité même dépassée, aujourd'hui il y a les gens qui disent « allez chez vous ». Allez chez vous. Les gens vont aller où? Quand les Africains peuvent être, il y a des Africains qui gèrent hors de ce pays. Ils sont des maires
chez les autres.
Chez les autres, chez les Blancs. Mais aujourd'hui, on revient déterrer une hache de guerre impossible. Nous allons parler de l'unité nationale. Questionnons-nous. Est-ce que c'est ce discours? Et j'ai peut-être la malchance d'être sous Aïdjo et sous Bia.
C'est la malchance?
Je peux dire la malchance. Parce qu'à un certain moment, je ne savais pas demander à un de mes camarades de classe, tu es d'où?
C'est ça.
Je savais que tu t'appelles Tigre Roche Landry, tu t'appelles Oona, je m'appelle Payere. On s'en fout. On est des camarades de classe. Nous comprenons que nous sommes des Camerounais, des étudiants ou des élèves. Mais aujourd'hui, à un certain moment, il faut que quand on pilote un peu quelque part, mais effectivement, vous êtes où là?
C'est ça.
On veut aller où avec cette division jusqu'à arriver à dire allez chez vous. Le Cameroun, c'est le chez qui? Les Camerounais. Si on peut aller aujourd'hui être des maires, même des présidents, vous voyez, la France est gérée par qui? La France est gérée par beaucoup d'étrangers. Si on ne veut pas comprendre, les Juifs ont géré la France. Beaucoup d'autres personnes gèrent la France. Mais chez nous aussi, un pays où nous sommes épris de paix, soyez Joe, quand je parle de 72, c'est quand je suis en train de faire la civile. J'ai fait classe 1, classe 2 à Tombel. J'ai toujours cela à dire souvent parce que il y a eu un divorce entre ma mère et mon père en 69. Elle nous a amenés à Tombel. J'ai commencé classe 1, tout ça à Tombel. Après, je reviens. Donc, je suis un peu très gêné quand je vois la situation qui se passe. Tombel, Nkumba, au Jardin, quand le train passait en Kombanga, Nkumba. J'avais les deux audiences, je finissais par arriver à Trikona. Je vais à Fiango pour me ressourcer, parce que mes parents vivaient par là. Et à Tombel. Mais quand j'arrive aujourd'hui, je ne peux plus aller. Il y a un sérieux problème qui se pose. On ne peut pas, le train, même on a enlevé les rails partout. Ce qui a fait, ça fait comprendre que il y a déjà, on a isolé un côté, ce qui n'est pas bien. Donc, nous
ce symbole-là, on peut l'interpréter comme ça?
Mais ce symbole, c'est très puissant, Sao. On ne peut pas être dans un pays, on a beau dire le discours qu'on a aujourd'hui, le bilinguisme, multiculturalisme. Normalement, le Cameroun est multiculturaliste.
Oui.
Bilingue, c'est une ressource qu'on allait exploiter. Mais à un certain moment, on voit plutôt que c'est comme si c'était plutôt un mal pour nous. Ce qui n'est pas un mal. Parce que surtout avec le train là. Vous voyez, le train, je ne veux pas dire côté francophone, parce qu'on a levé les rails jusqu'à Konsaba. Ce qui ne se fait pas. On croyait que le prolongement allait jusqu'à l'ouest. Nous avons aujourd'hui le train qui ne fonctionne que dans certains secteurs. Mais nos frères anglophones qui étaient là, le train qui arrivait, on a suspendu cela. Ce n'est pas bien. C'était un symbole pour unir le pays. Et je regrette d'ailleurs qu'on ait vendu le train à des étrangers. Parce que les moyens de locomotion ne doivent pas le faire. Je crois que KEDIA doit interroger ses patrons. On ne vend pas la lumière, on ne vend pas l'eau, on ne vend pas le train. Donc, voilà un problème qui se pose. Parce que l'ouest, le sud-ouest et le littoral étaient unis par le train. Le train partait d'où? De Mbanga, du Mungo. Donc tout ça, c'est des choses à se questionner. On parle aujourd'hui de l'unité nationale. On voudrait bien que le docteur Mac Anthony, je le revois aujourd'hui après presque un an. On se retrouvait sur tous les plateaux. Bon, Prince MUKAGE, on peut se retrouver autrement. Bon, voici le Cameroun. Vous-même, Serge Alain Otto, c'est le Cameroun que nous sommes en train de parler. Et il faut qu'on parle de cette unité nationale d'une manière très, très, très propre. S'il y a des problèmes qui troublent, comme ce que j'ai évoqué un peu sommairement, qu'on essaie de trouver des solutions. Parce que, tant qu'on fréquente du côté francophone, il a bien dit, dans l'ancien temps, qu'on suivait un bruit de fusil, c'était pour tirer un animal. Mais aujourd'hui, on suit les bruits. On va dire qu'on a tué un chef. on a tué un bi. Pendant ce temps, les autres tombent de l'autre côté. Est-ce que l'unité nationale n'est pas questionnable? Elle est questionnable. Okay. Et il faut que les gens essayent de comprendre comment gérer cela. On a le souci, nous au SDF, le dialogue. Le dialogue. Et j'ai toujours l'habitude de dire le dialogue, après le dialogue, parce que certains ont dit grand dialogue. Après le grand dialogue, on comprend qu'il faut encore dialoguer. Qu'est-ce qui nous empêche de dialoguer pour mettre un terme à tous ces problèmes que nous avons pour que la nation ou l'unité nationale soit vraiment concrétisée comme au temps de Haïti?
Voilà, docteur Mac Anthony, justement, cette unité nationale, aujourd'hui, beaucoup de gens se posent des questions, hein, surtout avec cette crise-là, mais bien avant. Il a évoqué, il y a eu quelques figures, hein, il nous a parlé surtout de ces trains-là. C'est un problème qui ne date pas, selon lui, hein, de la crise dans les régions nord-ouest. C'est depuis des années qu'il y a un véritable problème d'unité nationale.
Mr. Sedge, is very important for us to understand, you know. Before you get to talk about the present problems, you get to find out the source. You get to talk about the history of the problem that you are having before you can talk about the solution. You know, today we're having a crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. It is dated back to 1972, like MUKAGE actually cited earlier. The fact that the President of the Republic by then decided to actually annul the federation that was in existence, that was keeping the people together, because I will be sincere in saying that the fact that Western and Eastern Cameroon came under that federation, were able to hold the reins of the nation together, showed us that there were progress. Some people who come up today, historians will tell us that it was too difficult to manage the federation. But that is
duplication
just
of services.
That's a fiction. That's a fictitious reason, because I don't think that the federation in Cameroon was the very first federation that was established in the world. And if there was a problem with it, it was supposed to be fixed within the ambit of federation, not the idea of annulling federation to create a system that was going to create more problems in the future. Because what we are talking today, if there's a problem that actually gained power in 2016 and which is actually eating up to 2023 right now, it is because in 1972 we placed a foundation stone for it. So when that foundation stone was placed in 1972 by removing the federation and reuniting the two regions, creating, you see, removing the statues of equality that existed between the Western and Eastern, the West and East Cameroon, and creating a situation where you had 20% of the people merging with 80%. Now there was no more equality. And further going to bring administrative strategies to divide the two, the Western Cameroon into two regions, created a problem, and a further problem that we are experiencing today. And apart from that, when if we go back in 1982, when Mr. Biya became the president, and later on removed even the United Republic. Removed the United Republic and went back to La Republic, which was the very name that was used.
The East Cameroon had,
that was used by East Cameroon in 1960 when it got independence in January 1960. That was the name, La Republic du Cameroon. That is why when you mention here that they're going to use the name La République, is because they went back to that time. So with that perspective, just imagine, it was further creating a problem. The moment he did that, there was an individual, Fondinga, who went ahead. By then he was the president of the bar. Yes, a bar association.
A bar association.
Yes. Fundinga went further to bring a case and claiming that Mr. Abia has created a secession.
That's true.
Because this nation was united. Then you decided to go back to the name that existed without the Southern Cameroons. And so on doing that was a means to say that you have seceded. And that is how Dinga created the so-called Amba movement. It was in 1985 that it started. It's not today. And so back by then, he thought and fought, claiming that Mr. Bia had created a secession. Okay, that notwithstanding, other movements were there which came up and so that was to tell you the division that was nursed kept on mounting as time progressed. In 2016, when the lawyers and teachers came up with the idea of, okay, we need that, we should be, in fact, they came up with some strong points and said, and one of those points I will remind us was a federation. They needed that the federation should be reinstituted. I know most of the times when we talk, we only talk about the English subsection of education, we only talk about the common law, but we forget to know that they also said there was need for a federation to be reinstituted.
Which respected
that was what they actually said. And in saying that, their intention was the need, you see, I want to think that maybe was a nostalgia for some, but to most of them they thought it was the only means possible to hold this nation united. And that did not happen because the individuals who had the opportunity to sit down with them and talk with them did not have a good time talking with them. They created rather a problem. When they went before them and instead brought insults and looked down on them, it further created a serious problem which we are facing today. Today we are talking of death. We have thousands of people who have died, which we were not supposed to have lost this number of persons. We have people who have been displaced from their homes. I am still talking here, I'm a displaced person. I was living in Ekona, I am now living in Douala. I was not supposed to be living in Douala. So, these came as a result of that inability to manage a small problem that came up. The question today, when you hear a lot of persons say, no, the crises have ended and everything is getting to normalcy, the question is, are they being truthful? Because, Serge, I will tell you, one of the greatest problems of Cameroon is lies. When we lie and present lies to Cameroonians, we are not helping, we are destroying them. Truth is the only possible means to build. And the moment you do not tell the people the truth, what you are doing is, you might think you are dealing with a situation right now, but you are creating a further problem tomorrow. It's just like MUKAGE said, if you look at it, the young children that we have today, some of my children, most children that we have today who are in primary and in secondary schools, their future is going to be black. Why? The sound of guns they hear every day and they have become used to is not good. It is going to create a future of violence. And if we are not wise to deal with it effectively right now, and we use window dressing strategies to come down and struggle to put these things down, we will create more problems, Mr. Serge.
Okay.
Yes, so.
Okay. Thank you.
No, I've not even spoken and you are taking
No, you cannot say that.
Okay, yeah. So, in relation to that, let me conclude before you take over. What I need us to understand about this issue is that the Republic of Cameroon as a nation, if we have to talk about the unity of this nation, we have to be able to deal with the tribal problems that we are having right now. We have to be able to deal with this crisis that we have right now. We have to be able to handle, in fact, let the people understand that they are one from the perspective of we are all Cameroonians, not from the perspective of you tell somebody I'm from the northwest region, I'm from the southwest region, I'm from the eastern region, I'm from this region. Those problems are really, really demonic. When I say demonic, I mean they are demonic. They are going to create more problems tomorrow. So we are no more looking, we are struggling to talk about decentralization. We might want to be talking about federalism, but listen, we were supposed to build a sense of patriotism that will give us that capacity to unite. Okay. But without patriotism, there's no possibility for unity. Tribalism is taking over, and you can hear even government officials being sitting on TV stations and using tribalistic words. They are so tribalistic in their way of approach of talking.
Robert KEDIA, depuis le déclenchement de cette crise, on a eu l'habitude dans tous les discours du chef de l'État, le président appelait aux jeunes, il demandait aux jeunes de déposer les armes. Il y a eu le grand dialogue en 2019, il y a eu la libération des prisonniers, et depuis un certain temps, on a comme l'impression que ce volet-là, ça n'intervient plus dans les discours du chef de l'État. La crise dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest. Comment on dit que pour lui, pour le président, tout est rentré normal.
Mr. Serge, actually I'm shocked when I am faced with academic dishonesty when we say that the crisis has not actually changed. Are we saying that the tone of death in 2017, 18 and 19 is the same as in 2022? Are we saying that the way schools were closed in 2018-19 is the same situation that it is now? When we say nothing has changed, it's academic dishonesty, because things have actually changed progressively. No one has said that the crisis have ended 100% and guys are not in the bush. No, that's not what we are saying. We are saying that progressively things have changed. And if you people don't accept the fact that things have changed, then it definitely means that you people actually are not honest, because the killing in 2018, 19 and the way it is now in 2023 is absolutely different. We should be honest. It is true we have our problems. As I earlier said on the beginning of the program, there is no family without a domestic problem, but everybody still celebrates their marital anniversary, even with the domestic problem they do have. And that is what we'll be celebrating. Now, it is true that we all look at the root causes. Professor here earlier talked about the fact that the name was changed from a unitary system to La République du Cameroun, which was the first name, which is seen as conquering another part and changing the name to come to another name. That's the impression that some people may have. But the problem is the intention why the name was changed. The name was changed actually because there was this satisfaction of the living together. So we should know the intention of why it was changed, because there is this tendency that when something happens, politicians, they take it and they use it as their own agenda to get their own glory. Today, of course, we are talking about tribalism, but it does not stop intermarriages. A Bamenda man still get married to a Bakwere woman. A Bamilete man still get married to a Sawa woman. Who here goes to the hospital and asks, the doctor is from which tribe? The pastor is from which tribe? Who goes to the market today to buy Maggi and you ask the person selling Maggi that is from which tribe? We should not take things in their minority and portray them in a platform that we should think that things are very terrible. No. If today Prince MUKAGE can say in the Northwest Jews is 1,000, wrong. See, in a particular area where you went to because of the effect of the crisis, and you realize that maybe in your village, because of the crisis, the beer there is 1,000.
No, il a parlé du transport de son village.
Yeah, I'm talking about the price of juice. That is 1,000.
Non, oui, je dis donc il a parlé du transport.
We should not generalize everything to make people believe that everywhere in the Northwest, that is the situation. Going back even to the system of governance that we are talking about, Yes, President Ahmadou Ahidjo moved us from a federal system to a unitary system. Yes, President Ahmadou Ahidjo moved us from a multipartism system to a unitary system in 1966. We all know all this. But what did President Paul Biya do? He came in a centralized system and make it decentralized. He came in a one-party system and made it a multi-party system. He has the way of uniting the people. Yes, many people are saying that we move from a federal system to a unitary system. Federal system and unitary system, which one is actually good? Canada is a bilingual country like Cameroon. They have French and English. They do not have a federal system, but they are living together. In Africa, we have 54 countries. Only 5 practice the federal system. Only 5. And the rest, 40-something, practice the unitary system. It means that there is something there. Among the 190-something countries in the world, we have just about 27 that practice federalism. We can do our research, we find. So we should not look at the system of governance to be a cause of certain problems. Of course, yes, we know the issue of somebody saying, let's just take this example, that somebody of a region in the southwest region would call those of another region's name. How does that relate with the system of government? It is our mindset that we are supposed to build. We are supposed to frame ourselves to understand the value and the benefit of us living together and what we will profit when we live together. Being each and everyone's keeper is what we will benefit. Yes, today it is questionable that we have the crisis going on in the Northwest and Southwest and people are still falling, and of course some few days ago a journalist did fail, which actually cause for alarm. But the responsibility of it lies on the hands of who? Yes, we will say we voted a government. It is the legitimacy of that government to answer our call. But I will tell you that us the Anglophones, us of the Northwest and Southwest region, us the indigenous of the Northwest and Southwest region need to sit. And that's why I applaud those that sat in Southwest. We need to sit and ask ourselves questions. Those that have picked up arms, they are not Francophones. They are Anglophones. They are origin of the Northwest and Southwest region. Who do they rape? They rape their fellow brothers of the Northwest and Southwest region. Who do they kidnap? They kidnap their own brothers of the Northwest and Southwest region to take. We know in the majority. Are you saying that majority of those that have been kidnapped are Francophones?
So many soldiers fall in there.
Well, when it comes now to soldiers, there we cannot distinguish, because soldiers also, we have Anglophone soldiers that are even there because they know the terrain. So I would not like to talk about the soldiers and the military. I want to talk about the civilian. Majority of those that have been kidnapped are Anglophones. Those that have been stopped from going to school are Anglophones. We don't have a problem. It is democracy. You have the right to say, I want federalism. It's your right. I don't debunk with anybody that says you want federalism. That's democracy. You have your legitimate right to ask for the system of government which you think you will feel better in your country. True. But what we are denouncing is violence. Let's have our demand in a diplomatic manner and stop violence. If you say you want a confederation, that is your business. But we are in a democracy. Majority decide on what the people want. And if majority says this is what they want, then you of your minority, you accept it. If today we talk about tribalism here, and some people saying that you should go back to your houses, is because we don't understand the meaning of living together. Living together has to do with the respect of each and every one custom and tradition. Mr. Prince, if today you come to my village in Dogbamisi, on the market day you don't go to the farm. It is not written in the Constitution of the Republic, but it is our culture and tradition, and you must respect. If you find yourself in Douala, you must respect the culture of them. If you find yourself in the Bakwere land, you must respect their culture. Those are the values that we need to incarn ourselves. And most especially, political agendas actually, honestly, have been the cause of many of these problems. We see tribalism because we know the leaders of some particular political parties and where they come from. And these are the things that as intellectuals we must denounce to build our nation with love. And love is the foundation of unity.
Ok. D'abord, Maître PAYERE, la situation 2017, 2018, 2019 n'est pas comparable à celle que l'on vit aujourd'hui, parce que le rythme infernal qu'on nous a imposé au cours de ces années-là n'est plus le même. C'est-à-dire enlèvement, décapitation et tout ça, aujourd'hui. Mais un phénomène reste, celui des villes mortes, qui est presque institutionnalisé de ce côté-là, et des lockdowns à la pause des fêtes. Comment le pouvoir central, le gouvernement peut revenir comme ça pour renverser cette tendance-là? Même sans le dire, les populations savent déjà que lundi, on est à la maison. Même les administrations.
Oui.
Comment on comprend?
Oui, c'est Charles autour, c'est que cette histoire, cette crise, je ne dis même pas histoire, parce que histoire, c'est minorer un peu la situation. Cette crise qui existe vraiment, je ne veux pas revenir à la genèse. Mac Anthony a parlé tout à l'heure de mon bâtonnier. Je respecte mes bâtonniers. Ils sont mes aînés dans la confrérie d'avocats. Bon, ça, tout est parti des frustrations. Il y a une constance, réellement, un côté assez frustré. Je ne veux pas revenir point par point par rapport à tout ce qu'il a dit. On peut être d'abord fédéraliste, on devient unitaire, et quand on voit que ça ne donne pas, on revient en fédéraux, se comporte très bien. Je parle, le SDF, nous sommes
Est-ce qu'on peut appliquer ce même schéma pour le Cameroun?
Oui,
République du Cameroun, indépendant le 1er janvier 60, République fédérale du Cameroun.
Réunification.
Oui, République fédérale du Cameroun,
oui.
61.
Voilà.
République unie du Cameroun en 72. République du Cameroun en février 84.
Le mot République du Cameroun,
donc vous pouvez admettre que ça peut aussi revenir?
C'est ça qui choque certains. Et je crois que il faut toujours écouter les gens. J'ai toujours l'habitude de dire, on a empêché à un certain moment aux anglophones, je ne veux pas dire aux ambazoniens, le mot là ne me plaît pas, de pouvoir discuter entre eux et de pouvoir comprendre, dire ce qu'ils ont. La All Anglophone Conference, jusqu'à ce que une éminence du Cameroun comme Christian Toumi finit par rendre l'âme. On a bien voulu que les anglophones puissent s'exprimer. Peut-être j'ai la chance ou ma chance de connaître ces deux régions. J'ai mon anglais à mon niveau. Prince MUKAGE. I think you know, when I'm speaking English, I'm trying. Because I started my school in Tombell in 1969. After I came in francophone side. Donc c'est tel que il faut souvent comprendre les gens, la jeunesse. Donc aujourd'hui, si on peut aller, on est allé jusqu'à la République. Si les gens réclament quelque part, d'abord, il y avait déjà un conflit qui était pour la conférence de Fumban. On n'a pas épuisé cela. Et on est arrivé à un autre niveau où il faut épuiser tous ces débats. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Pourquoi, à un certain moment, on ne peut pas écouter les partis? Les gens qui s'énervent. Que tu as dit les choses pertinentes. Effectivement, quels sont ceux qui tombent plus sur le champ de bataille? Les enfants dans la zone anglophone et hypothéqués. Même mes enfants fréquentaient tous dans la zone anglophone. Aujourd'hui, d'autres sont en train de fréquenter peut-être à l'université de Boyamer. On a toujours peur. Vous voyez tout ce qui se passe. C'est qu'il faut pacifier toute la zone. Le problème, c'est que le discours haineux et tout consort, qu'on essaie de sortir de ça. Que tu as parlé bien, l'amour. Bon, on va tous aller à l'église. Allons donc à l'église. Je sais que la crise au Cameroun, la vie chère, à un certain moment, on a dit même qu'on prie. On a demandé que les prêtres, les pasteurs prient. N'avons-nous pas de solutions? Et on connaît ces solutions. Si à un certain moment, le centralisme, parce que l'État camerounais brille par le centralisme. KEDIA parle, mais il ne veut pas parler ce qu'il connaît. Tout va à Yaoundé. Et même on a essayé de décentraliser le Cameroun à travers la constitution de 96. Et voyez quand on essaie de mettre quelques bribes en pratique. Et jusqu'à aujourd'hui, est-ce que 15% va à ces gens-là, à ces collectivités décentralisées. Ça veut dire que le système de Yaoundé est tellement robuste qu'il ne veut pas changer. KEDIA apprend à dire la vérité. Dis à ces gens que, en dehors ils ont esquivé le fédéralisme que le SDF demande. Parce que je suis fédéraliste.